heck is anyone ever talking about? Despite having the aura of a twice-divorced functional alcoholic, I am technically part of Gen Z. Pre-9/11 Gen Z, baby. That means that I had the luxury, nay, privilege, of waltzing my little black tuchus into TSA with a Glock strapped to one side of my diaper and a bedazzled machete to the other. Y2K warlord aesthetic. I blew a puff of smoke into the TSA agent's face and said, "Yeah, you like that? How does it feel getting diddled daily by Uncle Sam, you government chode? Now clean that up." That was a true story, by the way. They say every 25 years is a new generation. The internet hellscape has shortened that to 5 years at this point. I'm already checked out. Mid, clout, ratio, W, L. This is a normal person in Ohio. This is my Roman Empire. This is a canon event. These words and phrases flood any comment section like a plague of locusts, devouring any originality that lies in its wake. I'm on at least a 2-month delay when it comes to understanding new slang, and that's being generous. Truth be told, I'm mentally still in 2009, popping my puss to Cobra Starship, completely unaware that the housing market had crashed. When I tell you the second I graduated high school, I tapped out of the pop cultural zeitgeist. Picture it, it's 2017. I'm attending NYU, pushing Tish and Stern kids into oncoming traffic like any patriot would, when an acquaintance of mine used the word clout in a sentence. I said, "Pray tell, amigo, what does that word mean?" "I am but a peasant woman of humble lexiconic origin." And that was the very beginning of me being perpetually out of the loop. Sometimes I will glance at the trending topics or news stories on, TikTok or even Google search, and it's like, Google D. Pissy Jr. breaks silence on the scandal surrounding crunk juice, the most lit slave-manufactured energy drink taking this nation's kids by storm, that scientists say is just liquid meth. In response to the unethical manufacturing, the self-identified heartthrob stated, "No cap, but I deadass had no idea that the formula contained the tears of the Guatemalan orphans who packaged it. My loyal team of LA's most syphilitic Sigma males just wanted to make a fun, innocent drink that would turn middle schoolers into tweakers." And I always end up thinking, who are any of these people? What are these products? Who's buying this? Well, 12-year-olds. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, oh, you're getting older and you can't keep up with what the young whippersnappers are doing. What an original observation. Shut up, okay? And let me complain. Is being out of the loop inherently a bad thing? Not necessarily, but I do make content online, so keeping track of trending topics is actually beneficial to my career. On the rare occasions that I actually leave my house to scream at birds or take naps in the display bedrooms in IKEA, I will on occasion pass by some youths and then proceed to eavesdrop on them, as is my right as a taxpayer. When I tell you, they might as well be speaking Klingon. It doesn't help that they are so scary. There is nothing more terrifying than a group of 13-year-olds. Now, I like kids generally. Babies, when they're not breaking the sound barrier or projectile pooping, are adorable. They're cute little bags of meat. You can whisper secrets to them, and who are they gonna tell? 4 to 11-year-olds are interesting because they have such an innate sense of curiosity and also credulity, which means you can just lie to them. Why must I brush my teeth? Timmy protests. Because, little Timmy, if we don't maintain our oral hygiene, the terrorists win. But once they hit puberty, they get so mean. You're mixing a lack of empathy, because I'm assuming that section of their brain is just filled with Fortnite dances at that age, raging sticky hormones, and a roster of slurs you didn't even know existed. And look, not to get racial, but if that group of 13-year-olds consists of black kids wearing knockoff Yeezys, RIP in peace, because you're about to get verbally eviscerated. And I don't mean black kids who grew up sheltered in the suburbs like me, with a figurative electric shock collar around our necks. If you grew up within a 10-mile radius of a Whole Foods or, God forbid, an Erewhon, your comebacks are gonna be whack. That's the trade-off. It's an uneven one, but still, I don't make the rules. And they know that you can't say anything back to them because you are the adult in this scenario. At least when another adult insults you, you can just, give them a little high five to their windpipe. Now, one can technically perform this move on a middle schooler, though this is an action that is, generally frowned upon. And I would recommend doing it further down in the parking lot so that you're out of the range of the security cameras. Speaking of trending topics, Taylor Swift, a person who has a stranglehold on the white women of North America, the likes of which I have not seen since Oprah or SoulCycle, is dating or has already broken up with, I don't know, some football man. I'm only aware of this because the public apparently has not gotten over their invasive obsession with Taylor Swift's love life. Also because her fans God help me if they find this, the cult-like, let's just say tendencies of some members of her fan base have officially transformed her into a god queen of sorts. Listen, whenever I see like vanilla candle having a good ass time, it doesn't bother me. You know what? I support the basic, okay? I think they get a lot of flack, but it's gotten to a point where, my goodness, I feel like if Taylor Swift wanted to initiate some sort of like Heaven's Gate mass unaliving, let's just say that the 12 to 30 white female demographic would shrink by at the very least 10%. Brandy Melville will be forced to go out of business. I think that the time-honored tradition of misogyny aside, part of the reason that people have been pressed about Taylor's love life is that sometimes she gets with who the untouched masses want to be with. Do any of y'all recall when she dated Harry Styles? That human equivalent of a hand poke tattoo? No shade, okay? Don't come for me, stylists. Is that what they're called? Now, the reason this specific relationship stands out to me, it was because I was in middle school at the time. And let me just say, I personally witnessed several Taylor Swift posters getting taken down off of Directioner's walls after the devastating news broke out. I didn't even have to ask why. There was a silent understanding. It still kills me to this day, the betrayal that someone who was a Swiftie and Directioner must have felt when they saw those paparazzi photos. That was their Vietnam. But let's be real, Mackenzie. This is the hypothetical fangirl in 2012. Who was he meant to date? I know you wanted the answer to be you, but you are in the 7th grade and you live in Poughkeepsie. If he wanted to date you, that would have been a felony. But I can't judge these little girlies too harshly. Everybody needs a sprinkle of delusion in their lives, I suppose. Also, that 2012 era was so ripe with the interests of teen girls and preteens just constantly getting dismissed as being inherently frivolous or stupid, while some of the boys their age were on sketchy forums discussing skull shapes. They've single-handedly revived phrenology. They're probably penning manifestos with so many grammatical errors. You think someone working at Grammarly has ever had to edit like a little Manny? Like, man, if I was this poor a writer, I'd be angry too. We couldn't let these little girls have their pumpkin spice lattes and Ugg boots. Are those still a thing? What are like modern little girls into? True crime? Multi-level marketing? Who knows? This is unrelated, but Jacob Elordi, Eldorado? It doesn't matter. That giant ogre hunk. He seems nice enough, okay? He's a good actor. This is not anything personal. But he is too damn tall. I'll be the one to say it. He's sucking up all of the oxygen with his big-ass lungs. It's selfish, really. And I can say that because my oxygen inhalation is on par with that of a chihuahua. No offense, but this man seems like he could gallop to his destinations. I have a feeling that every few months he travels to the Australian wilderness, strips down and just lives off the land. Probably gets mistaken for Sasquatch or another cryptid. I've seen images of him alongside his female co-stars, and he looks like he's about to smash their bodies like a game of whack-a-mole. It's like watching a gorilla charge at a field mouse. And you know what? I don't feel bad for mocking him, because I feel it is my duty to make fun of the rich and attractive. I'm single-handedly evening the playing field. Do you know how often ugly people get dragged online simply for existing? And have I personally participated in some of these insult-slinging sessions? Yes, I am part of the problem, and my self-awareness means nothing. But just to even things out, I make it my duty to also mock the attractive. You know what? I'll give you another one for free. Dave Franco looks like he smells like the back of a sweaty kneecap and gasoline. I don't know how to explain this, but the tightness of his face, he kind of resembles like a hot burn victim. You can't afford to be ugly or annoying online. You can be a sketchy person and still have a career in the limelight. You might experience a few sort of diet cancellations where a bunch of people with Animal Crossing profile pics tweet at you that your hairline looks like it's doing the Millie Rock. But most of the time, one can bounce back from this. But if people really didn't like you to begin with and you step a foot out of line, and it doesn't have to even be anything offensive, just cringy enough. Oh, buddy. Now those same people can freely cyberbully you because now they have a valid reason to not like you, despite the fact that they despised you to begin with. The James Charles, Tati Westbrook, gummy vitamin fiasco of 2019. It sounds so stupid saying it out loud, but that cancellation that James Charles was able to Uno reverse, at least temporarily, always stood out to me as a prime example of the intersection between problematic allegations and generally just being considered cringe. Now, disclaimer! I am aware that Miss James did eventually turn out to be a sort of weird, horny pest, to say the least, okay? I'm not talking about James currently, but back in 2019, the accusations against him went from he's kind of pathetic and desperately flirts with straight boys to he is a full-blown predator that needs to be taken out with a tranquilizer gun. Especially after Jeffree Star, that contoured sleep paralysis demon, added fuel to the fire. And now a beauty guru or influencer getting cancelled is nothing new. I can't even really recall the exact details of other cancellations. This one in particular, however, always stuck with me, precisely because the atmosphere surrounding the cancellation was not, oh, finally, his victims are getting justice. It was more, oh, finally! I always hated him. He was so annoying. Why was he always wearing assless chaps? Who allowed him to start singing? Now wait a dingly dang minute. What are your motivations in this? There were people rejoicing as his follower count went down, dancing in the streets, jubilation across the land, the likes of which hadn't been seen since the end of World War II. And I think a large part of the reason is because the internet didn't like him to begin with. And do not get me wrong, okay? I'm not immune to mob mentality either. But let's be real. The internet was waiting on his downfall ever since that harrowing footage of him doing the came out. And with every unflattering meme, his virtual grave was being dug. Well, wipe your tears with your $100 bills, gummy boy. Y'all ever see those videos that are about day in the life of being a millionaire's wife? Ooh, bars. Azalea Banks, I'm coming for your neck. Regarding these ritzy women, I'm not here to make fun of them for like marrying rich or whatever. Also, we have no idea how they actually live their lives, okay? The internet is full of lies and deception, so take these videos with a grain of salt. But what I hate is that the people who make this sort of look how great and sexy my life is kind of content are never transparent with their intentions. They could have just lived their interesting, ostentatious little lives in peace, not subject to the prying eyes of the internet. But they are posting this content to shove their lives filled with aristocratic bliss in your poor, broke, crusty little faces. And I just wish they'd be honest about it. See, people like this, they don't fully utilize the internet for what it was made for. Trolling. If you're already shoving your life of opulence into people's faces, you might as well get brazenly disrespectful with it. Like, good morning, Habibtis. One of my servants, whose passport we keep in a safe, woke me up too early this morning, so I pushed her off the balcony. I have my gastro servants chew my food up for me and spit it into my mouth like a baby bird as I look over a collection of diamonds that my husband had imported from one of our miner-operated mines. Get it? Miners. I'm renowned for my sense of humor. Then I do some more shopping. I have a buff man carry me from store to store. And if he drops me, he has to sleep outside for the night, like the dog that he is. You wish you were me, don't you? All you have is a nicotine addiction you refuse to acknowledge and daddy issues. You're poor. You're poor. You're poor. And you'll die that way. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to my top patrons. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you would like to subscribe to my Patreon, the link is on screen and in the description down below. Thank you to my other lovely patrons. Your names should be scrolling on screen as I speak. Bye.